adventure is always waiting. The storytelling means for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Good morning to all of our radio listeners, our viewers via Von Radio Facebook page and YouTube channel, and welcome to another edition of Youth on the Go on Von Radio. I am Zoe Bendetto, Communications Officer from the Nevis Disaster Management Department, Ministry of Communications et al., filling in for Ms. Daniela Claxton, PS, from the Ministry of Education et al. So every Saturday we are here with you to share opportunities, events, activities, information, and of course today is no different. Well, maybe a tiny bit different, because every last Saturday of the month we have a special edition where our youth disaster ambassadors presents on a particular hazard that can affect the Federation. So with that being said, the month of January is Earthquake Awareness Month, which is spearheaded by the Charleston Primary School. So without further ado, I'll let them introduce themselves and their grades.
My name is Michaela Bailey. I am 11 years old and I attend the Charleston Primary School.
Thank you.
My name is Brian Taylor and I am also representing the Charleston Primary School, and I am 11 years old too.
Alright, it's a pleasure to have you guys here. So let's get right into it. So, what do you know about earthquakes, Michaela?
I know that earthquakes are the shaking, rolling, or sudden shock of the Earth's surface. Earthquakes happen along cracks, called fault lines, in the Earth's surface. Earthquakes can be felt over large areas, although they usually last less than 1 minute. Earthquakes cannot be predicted, although scientists are working on it.
Oh, I see. So where can it happen, Brian?
Well, earthquakes can happen at any time, and the Caribbean is known to experience them.
Oh, I see. Have you guys ever experienced an earthquake before?
No.
Oh, well, for those who haven't, do you know what to do before an earthquake, Michaela?
What to do before an earthquake? 1. Build an emergency kit. 2. Make a family communications plan. 3. Know the safe spots in every room, like under a sturdy table or against an inside wall. 4. Ask your family to hold earthquake drills. Drop, cover, and hold on.
Alright. So how about when we're in a building? What do we do when an earthquake happens, Brian?
Me personally, I would drop to the ground. 2. Take cover under a sturdy table or other heavy furniture. If there is nothing to get under, cover your face and head with your arms and crouch near an inner wall. 3. Hold on until the shaking stops. 4. Stay away from windows, glass, lighting fixtures, or furniture that could fall, like bookcases. 5. Stay inside and wait for aftershocks.
Okay. So what do we do when we are outside during an earthquake?
What to do when you're outside during an earthquake? Stay there. Move away from buildings, street lights, and wires. They may fall and hurt you. Stay out in the open until the shaking stops. Building may collapse and hurt you.
Oh, wow. That's very important to know. So, guys, remember, if you're outside during an earthquake, stay there. Move away from buildings, street lights, wires. We don't want anything to fall on you and hurt you, right? Stay out in the open until the shaking stops. That's very important. So, what if you're trapped under debris? What should you do?
Well, if you're trapped under debris, this is what to do. 1. Cover your mouth and nose with your shirt. 2. Do not scream. You could breathe in the dust. 3. Tap on a pipe or wall so that rescuers can find you.
Thank you so much. So to repeat that, you cover your mouth and nose with your shirt. You do not scream because you could breathe in the dust. And lastly, tap on a pipe or wall so that rescuers can find you. Okay, what should we do after an earthquake?
After an earthquake, expect aftershocks. They are usually not as strong but can cause damage. Open cabinets carefully. Objects have moved and could fall on you. Text. Don't talk as you may block the phone lines for emergency workers.
Okay. Have you guys ever did an earthquake drill at school?
Yes.
How was it?
Fun.
So you guys know exactly what to do in the event of an earthquake, correct?
Yes.
That is very good, very good. So let's get into words to know. So what is seismic activity?
Seismic activity. Another word for earthquakes along with tremors, quakes, and shakers.
Okay. How about fault lines?
Fault lines are cracks in the rocks below the Earth's surface.
All right. And what is an aftershock? I heard you guys mention that. So let's know the definition of an aftershock.
Aftershock. A smaller earthquake that follows the main shock or previous earthquake.
So during an earthquake, you still have to wait because another thing might come, which is called an aftershock. So it's very important to stay put until that ceases. What is an epicenter?
An epicenter is the center of an earthquake from which seismic waves are sent spherically in many directions.
Alright. And the last word. What is a seismograph?
A seismograph, a machine that measures an earthquake.
Well, we wrapped that up really quick, didn't we? So let us hear what are the key lessons you guys got from this whole thing.
Well, what to do before an earthquake, after an earthquake, during an earthquake, and what to prepare.
Right?
Epicenter and aftershocks and other stuff.
That's good. So, you guys interested in an earthquake story? Alright, so let's get to it. So, this story is entitled When the Classroom Shook. It was a regular Tuesday morning at the Hillside Elementary School. Miss Garcia, the 6th grade teacher, was explaining fractions while the class groaned at yet another math problem. Alex, the class clown, had just cracked a joke about dividing snacks when suddenly the room gave a sudden jolt. The students froze. A deep rumble followed, and the ground began to sway. Miss Garcia immediately shouted, "Earthquake, everyone!" What do you think she said after? Drop, cover, and hold on. Exactly. Some students screamed, and others just looked around in confusion. But Miss Garcia stayed calm. She pointed to the desk. "Quickly, under your desk, hands over your head." What do you think she said, hands over your head?
To cover your head from getting hit.
Exactly, things could fall on your head. Let's go. Alex darted for the doorway, but Miss Garcia stopped him. "No, stay under your desk. Doorways aren't safe anymore." Reluctantly, Alex crouched under his desk, holding onto the legs as the floor shook violently. The lights flickered, books tumbled off shelves, and the classroom clock fell with a loud crash. A loud pop echoed down the hall. It sounded like a pipe bursting. After what felt like a lifetime, the shaking finally stopped. The students stayed under their desk, breathing heavily. As Miss Garcia peeked out cautiously. "Everyone's is okay?" she asked. A collective murmur of yes followed. So Miss Garcia quickly grabbed the emergency kit from the closet, including a flashlight and a first aid supplies. She calmly led the class outside to the assembly area, avoiding falling debris. Outside, the principal was directing students and teachers to safety. Miss Garcia made sure everyone in her class was accounted for. Alex apologized. "I was going to run. I didn't know it was safe." Miss Garcia nodded. "That's why we practice these drills. Running outside can be very dangerous. You did the right thing by staying put." Later, as the students waited for their parents, Miss Garcia reminded them of 3 critical rules: drop, cover, and hold on during the shaking. Stay indoors until it's safe to exit, and follow your teacher's instructions. So that's the end of the quiz, and we'll take a short little break.
Sugar City St. Kitts, keep it sweet. Keep listening to Vaughn.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now we're past it quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's Youth on the Go. Youth on the Go, whoa, let's start the show. Oh, Youth on the Go, whoa, let's start the show. Let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab the gators, let's gather around, and adventure is always waiting. The storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the Go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, Youth on the Go. Let's start the show. Let's go.
All right, we're back. So before we had two amazing youth disaster ambassadors presenting on earthquake awareness, because this month is all about earthquakes, and they gave a very, very beautiful presentation, and we had a short little story about when the classroom shook. So guess what? I have a quiz. Are you guys ready for the quiz? Okay, great. All right. What should you do during an earthquake in the classroom? Is it A, run to the nearest exit? Is it B, drop, cover, and hold on? Or is it C, scream and panic?
B. Drop, cover, and hold on.
Excellent. Of course, so drop, cover, and hold on. Please, guys, do not scream and panic during an earthquake. And it's not safe to run to the nearest exit. You might have fallen debris. It's very dangerous. So please, drop, cover, and hold on immediately. Protect yourself. So number 2, why isn't it safe to stand in the doorway? A, doorways are too narrow to protect you. B, doors can swing shut and cause you injury. Or C, both A and B? What do you think?
C.
Sound like both ends?
Yeah.
Okay, you're correct though. Alright, let's go to the last question. What should you do after the earthquake, the shaking stops? Is it A, stay under the desk forever? Is it B, evacuate carefully when instructed? Or is it C, ignore the teacher and leave on your own?
B.
What you say? B, exactamundo. You evacuate carefully when instructed, because staying under your desk forever doesn't make any sense, right? And ignoring your teacher and leaving on your own is very dangerous. Please, guys, viewers, listeners, during an earthquake, please have mercy. Do not ignore your teacher's warnings, right? You drop, cover, and hold on, and after the shaking stop, you listen to those in authority, and you stay safe, right? Your teacher is there to protect you, and it's very important for her to him to make sure that all of the students are accounted for. So you need to be very obedient, okay? It's to save lives, all right? So Michaela and Brian, we are very happy to have you here. It was a pleasure for you to present on earthquake awareness. We are very happy for that. And do you have any parting things to tell our listeners, even students who might be listening, because maybe they just want a final message to take with them in the event they encounter an earthquake scenario? Michaela?
Well, you should always listen to those in charge, especially during an earthquake, and be careful when you're exiting, because there might be falling debris around.
You're correct. You're very correct. Brian, anything to say?
Stay, let your teachers guide you on what to do. and yes, that's all.
All right, excellent. So thank you so much for being here. Again, introduce yourself so people know who has been talking.
Michaela Bailey.
Thank you for coming.
And Brian Taylor.
These are the superstars from the Charlestown Primary School. Amazing disaster ambassadors. It's a pleasure to have you. And along with the Charlestown Primary School, we also have the Wesleyan Holiness Church. This is our faith-based segment where they also spearhead the earthquake awareness campaign. So we have faith-based, we have school-based, as the students are here. We have other different segments of how we campaign the different hazards that can affect the federation, right? And there's a lot of hazards such as landslides, tsunamis, these things could really impact us. So I'm really glad that we could have these situations and these moments of opportunities to present to the audience on how to stay safe during these hazards, right? So thank you so much. So we'll now have a little short break and we have another guest coming in.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. I know we're gonna have a great time. An hour passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's Youth on the Go. Youth on the Go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, Youth on the Go. Whoa, let's start the show. Whoa, let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab the gears, let's gather round. An adventure is always waiting. The storytelling means for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the Go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, Youth on the Go. Whoa, let's start the show. Whoa,
Let's go. We are back again. So we had the beautiful Charlestown Primary School students previously presenting an earthquake awareness. We had our little earthquake awareness story time. It was very good. They answered the questions. We are so happy. So to recap, some little pointers again. Earthquake, during an earthquake, you drop, cover and hold on is very important. Please take cover under something very sturdy and things like that. After earthquake, please be mindful of an aftershock. It could catch you off guard. And when you're outside, please be in the open. Don't be near buildings that can fall on you, or wires, street wires and things like that. Please protect yourself from being informed. It's very important, right? So now, as promised, I have another special guest. We know him very well, and he recently celebrated his birthday. Is it yesterday? He is no other than our Deputy Director at the Nevis Disaster Management Department, Mr. Jack Gumba. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir.
Thank you, Zoe.
So, about our multiple hazard campaign, we had the students from the Charlestown Primary School presenting on earthquake awareness, and I also mentioned that we also work with faith-based organizations, such as this month is the Wesleyan Holiness Church, who is also spearheading Earthquake Awareness Month. So I kind of want you to explain more about that and other entities that we may be working with. Can you really talk on that?
Okay, thank you, Zoe, for the opportunity. It is very important to realize that the speed at which natural adverse events impacts the earth is faster than ever in history. Mm-hmm. And the challenges or the impacts are really uncountable and very severe. The question we should ask is, the preparation we make for such, in terms of a correlation, do they match? Our preparation, does it match the speed at which these adverse events are taking place? So when we have all this in mind, it is worth noting that it becomes not just an activity, but it becomes a strategy to build a culture of safety. In other words, enhance resilience. So why I would like to have said what I've said is to emphasize the fact that the Navy's disaster management approach in risk reduction awareness program is not only to get persons here or listen to us. It is more of persons partake in the process. We want our listeners to become the messengers. We want our listeners to become converts to that same message. And we want our listeners to have a transformed behavior to best practices, because worse things are happening from natural hazards. So on that note, it makes us now have it mainly as an ongoing process. Year after year is almost like a routine. So in that case, we have the school base. You just witnessed what the students would have done. They educated us. Rather than us telling them, they lecture parents. And the strategy on this is, it makes it easier for their father, mother, uncles, sisters, brothers to pay attention to that message, as opposed to if I was the one giving it. Now also to faith base. The faith-based entity, what happens with it is we get all the churches, as much as we can, especially here on Nevis, to assign a particular hazard to them, because this whole process is a 1-year program, which I've been saying it over in previous programs, from January through to December. And the aim of it is to ensure that for every month we can focus on a particular hazard as a theme. January, we are focusing on earthquake. So we use that as the lens to see how sheltering can take place, how preparation can take place in case there is an earthquake when you are heading to the supermarket, in case there is an earthquake when you are sleeping, in case there is an earthquake when you are at church. That is the idea. Think through that lens. And the churches now, we have them to also spearhead. This particular January, tomorrow I'll be at the Wesleyan Holiness Church, where just to do the same routine, having their pastor do his PSA, which is already a video, and talking to the church on safety, getting them involved. So that is our goal, getting more entities. So for now, we have the school base, we have the faith base, and we'll be including the business base and also the artistic base, where we get musicians not only being invited when there is an event, but literally being involved in our safety programs. And their approach will be to compose music on all our safety messages.
Wow, that's very, very, very inspiring, and Mr. Cooper, I think I just want to commend you and the staff. I'm talking as if I'm not working this. But yeah, it's a big project, and it's a all hands on deck thing, and we really appreciate you for all the work you've done. You and Mr. Dyer. It's been a really a great pleasure working at the Nevis Disaster Management Department, and it's never a dull moment. I tell you.
And you are one of the key backbones.
Thank you so much. So, you have anything to add in terms of future projects you're working on for the department? And
okay, that's a good question. At times, it's good for us to look at some key activities that NDMD, the Nevis Disaster Management, will partake in. And one of those activities, if we look at, first we had a simulation exercise that would have taken place on the 7th of January.
oh,
And yes, this exercise, it was heavily on communication testing with the dispatch system on Nevis, to see how, when a mass casualty event and other stuff could take place, how messages could be transported, faster. in accuracy, well understood, and how it also impact decision-making process. So that went on successfully, and also from January 28, 29, there is going to be an insight decision consultation. And in this is going to enhance the St. Kitts Nevis disaster management framework. So it's a process that would have started last year. So it's just continuing. And also there will be the tropical storm and hurricane storms surge modeling project. It's a very vital project. This too is going to run from January 30th right through to February 5th. And also a very interesting one is with the Global Support and Development, that's the GST, Communications Enhancement Project. So this project is going to take place from the 1st to the 15th of February. And it's so good because it's going to build up skills that are so needed timely for communications intervention and disaster management before, during, and after. And it will be heavily on telecommunications. Then we have the Carib Wave, which it is a regional exercise. I long for the day where each of the hazards we have that regional touch, where in January all the Caribbean islands, focus on earthquake, to have that holistic awareness approach. So for now, just tsunami does it. So for tsunami, in the month of March 20th, we'll have the Carib Wave Regional Tsunami Exercise, where it will be there to test how well persons know their evacuation route to higher grounds, especially those at lowland areas. Then moving again forward, we have planning and coordinations needs. In this case, several units, like the communications unit, will ensure that the NDMD website is revamped, and also the communication strategies will also be enhanced. One of it is the student and community communications ambassadors. Yes, that is a whole course by itself, and it is followed an approach which is designed by my humble self after much best practices and several research, coming up with 7 key principles, 7 key pillars: policy, database and research, marketing and creativity, public relations, telecommunications, and I would have omitted message formation, and it ends with incident command system. So seeing to it that all these 7 key pillars, which are always necessary in disaster management, don't operate in silos. However, they integrate, and not only integrate, but from the communication perspective. So data gotten could be communicated in a way that even the kindergartens can get the sense from. So that is where this is heading on to, and the best way is to build people in the community. So in that case, we have the school base, where you have the student ambassadors. For instance, the children you saw who did the radio program just now, they are already enrolled in that training. So every year, 22 of them are being enrolled, and it's a 5-phase training program. So that's what runs on. NDMD has a lot of packages. In other departments, you have shelter management trainings, you have damage and loss assessment, and you name it. The year is loaded with a lot of goodies.
Well, it's really good to hear all these proactive measures taking place to ensure disaster risk reduction, and we're very pleased to have you talking about that. And to add on that, we also have like a PSA on from the Ministry of Health, preventing hand, foot, and mouth disease. Did you know that hand, foot, and mouth disease, HFMD, is a common illness affecting young children? Symptoms include fever, painful mouth sores, and rashes on hands, feet, and sometimes buttocks. So some prevention tips: wash hands often, use soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Disinfect surfaces, use chlorine-based disinfectants as they are more effective at killing the HFMD virus. Clean regularly disinfecting toys and high-touch areas such as doorknobs, switches, and countertops. Avoid close contact. Stay home when sick to prevent spreading the virus. Practice good hygiene. Teach children not to put hands or objects in their mouth. So when to call a doctor? If your child has a high fever or symptoms lasting 2 or more days, visit your health care provider immediately. If your child has difficulty swallowing, visit the emergency room immediately. Stay safe, stay healthy. So for more information, you visit your nearest health center. It's very important. So please, guys, stay safe out there. And as we were emphasizing earlier, the importance of these messages to ensure that people are very proactive in staying healthy and prepared and safe. That's very important. We have different adverse events that can affect you. So we this a strong emphasis on proactive measures, right, Mr. Gumba? So we are glad to have all these agencies very adamant to, disseminate these timely information so that the general public can be very safe. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Gumba?
Once safety is concerned, it's very important for everyone to know that it's everybody's business.
Everybody's business.
Everybody's business. Yes, it's not something left only for disaster management. And one of the best ways to go about it is being proactive as opposed to reactive.
Yes.
I really applaud the health department on how, the approach they take before a plague or an epidemic will even approach the island. Once they know it's already in the air, in most cases they always set up PSAs telling us what to do before, during, and after. Yes, and it's not only for health. That is something which has to flow in every sector: the agriculture, physical planning, you name it, all. Yes, where in their aspect of safety, the message is heavily preached out. For instance, when it comes to crops, right now, let me narrow it back to our earthquake. Yes, looking at it, when there is an earthquake, what does it do to agriculture?
Oh, that's true.
I mean, the fault lines, think of the crops that could really be heavily impacted.
I sometimes when these things happen, we kind of forget that these hazards can trigger secondary hazards. Right?
That is it.
We don't really think about these other things. So I think it's very important to just think big when it comes to these kind of stuff. And, it's very important.
That is something we must take note of. Yeah, because like I was citing agriculture, when that is done, food crops experience a shortage. Exports or import now goes on the rise, and because of it, prices increases. So that is a line on it. Then when we get to education, as we're in a program that is governed, by the education mindset, look at what happens to children when their classrooms are damaged. Buildings collapse. At times, classes may be forced to be done where? In a tent. Or at times outside, and it's rainy. What if it was just around the hurricane season time? Yes, so in every area there should be a proactive mind as opposed to just the surface basic way of looking at it. And we must do this holistically from January to December in order to build a culture of safety.
That's really good. A culture of safety, because our vision statement is to build a resilient nation.
Perfect.
Well, Mr. Gumba, it was a pleasure having you here today to speak about the multiple hazard campaign and other projects that the Nevis Disaster Management Department is working on in the future. So, with that being said, it is time for a break. Thank you so much. I am your host, Ms. Zoe Bendetto from the Nevis Disaster Management Department.
From Queen City, Nevis, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, Vaughn Radio.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know, we're gonna have a great time. And now it passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's you on the go. You on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, you on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab the games, let's gather around. An adventure is always waiting. The storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Youth on the go. Let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. We are back here again, and it's all about earthquake awareness. We just had our Deputy Director from the Nevis Disaster Management Department, Mr. Jacob Negumba. He was here talking about the plans that the NDMD had going forward in the future. So now we have another story time segment. And this story is more geared towards our faith-based segment, as I mentioned before. Along with the Charlestown Primary School, we also have our faith-based organization working along with us to spearhead the earthquake awareness, and that church is the Wesleyan Holiness Church. So let's start the story. And the story is entitled A Lesson in Faith and Safety. The midday sun filtered through the stained glass windows of St. Mark's Church. Pastor David was delivering his sermon to a congregation of 50 people, speaking about hope during difficult times. Children giggled quietly in the back pew, while Sister Carla arranged hymn books at the side of the altar. Suddenly, the building groaned, and the chandeliers swayed. A deep rumble followed, shaking the pews and sending a gasp throughout the congregation. "Earthquake!" Pastor David shouted, his voice steady despite the chaos. Some people panicked, standing up and running towards the doors. Sister Carla immediately said, "Stay where you are. Drop to the floor and protect your heads." Pastor David instructed everyone, "Get low. Cover your heads with hymn books or hands, and stay away from the windows." The children huddled under the safety sturdy pews, guided by Sister Carla. An elderly couple near the altar held on to each other, but stayed seated, shielding their heads. The stained glass cracked. A piece fell, shattering near the altar. A cry went up from a young boy. Jack, can you give a little cry so the audience can visualize it? But Sister Carla reassured him. "We are okay. Just stay low and stay calm." The tremors slowed, then stopped. The congregation stayed put until Pastor David declared, "Okay, it's safe to move now, but be careful." This is after the quake. Pastor David and Sister Carla led everyone outside to the open courtyard. A few people had minor cuts, which were quickly tended to using a first aid kit from the emergency supplies. As they stood in the safety of the courtyard, Pastor David addressed the shaking group. "Today, we've learned that faith and preparation go hand in hand. Let this be a reminder. Just as we prepare our hearts, we must prepare our homes and our churches for times like these." Sister Carla added, "Let's work together to create an earthquake safety plan for our congregation. And remember, the best way to stay safe is to stay calm." The group nodded, vowing to be more prepared for the future. So, guess what? It's time. for a quiz. But we don't really have someone here today to answer it. So I am gonna just ask the question and pretend that our viewers, our audience is responding to me. So let's start. What did Pastor David tell the congregation to do during the earthquake? Is it A, run to the doors? Is it B, drop, cover and protect their heads? Or is it C, stand up and pray? Alright. Okay. If you said B, you are absolutely correct. It's drop, cover and protect their heads. Number 2. Why is it unsafe to run during an earthquake in a church? Is it A, you might trip over pews or fall in debris? Is it B, you could be injured by falling glass or objects? Or is it C, both A and B? Okay, I think I hear somebody say A. Okay, if you said A, you're correct. But if you also said B, you're correct. So the answer is C. The answer is C, both A and B. Okay, let's go to our last question. What is one important step for churches to take after an earthquake? Is it A, inspect for damage and ensure safety? Is it B, close the doors and stop all activities? Or is it C, ignore what happened and continue as usual? Correct, Mundo. It's A, inspect for damage and ensure safety. So here's your final thought. Whether it's in a classroom or a church, preparation and calm action during an earthquake can save lives. Let's all commit to learning the steps and sharing the knowledge. It's a lesson that can make a world of difference. So remember, guys, I would like to end on a quote that I use all the time. It's better to prepare and prevent than to repair and repent. Right, Jack? Perfect. He said perfect. So guys, please have that quote in your hearts, in your minds. It's very important because we want a safe and resilient nation. That is our vision statement. Building a resilient nation. Well, it has been a pleasure being your host today. I am Zoe Bendetto, Communications Officer from the Nevis Disaster Management Department, Ministry of Communication et al. I am just so happy to be here. And with that being said, let's end the show.
Always satisfying. Vaughn Radio, the powerhouse.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know, we're gonna have a great time. And now it passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's you on the go. You on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, you on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab the gears, let's gather around, and adventure is always waiting. The storytelling means for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go. Let's start the show. Let's go.
All right. It was such a pleasure, joining Youth on the Go today. We once again appreciate the opportunity given to disaster management by Ms. Zanella Clarkson, the Permanent Secretary of Education. And we witnessed the students from Charleston Primary spearheading the hazards of earthquake for the month of January, educating us on what to do before, during, and after. Now, to sum it up in the next few minutes, I want us just to have a little reflective on the hazard earthquake, how it can be significant in St. Kitts and Nevis, looking at it from economical, religious, and educational, even agricultural aspects. So listen keenly on this gentle touch. St. Kitts and Nevis, like many Caribbean nations, is vulnerable to seismic activities due to its location along the tectonically active Caribbean plate. Although the Twin Island Federation has not experienced a catastrophic earthquake in recent history, like what happened so many years back, which triggered a tsunami that damaged Jamestown, the threat remains significant, warranting reflection on the multifaceted impact of such a hazard on different sectors of national life. When we look at economic implications, an earthquake of significant magnitude could have devastating economic consequences for St. Kitts and Nevis. The nation's economy is heavily dependent on tourism, with historical sites such as Brimstone Hills Fortress and natural attractive sites like the beaches and rainforests being major draws. A severe earthquake could damage key infrastructure, including hotels, roads, and cruise ships terminal, leading to a downturn in visitor arrivals. Additionally, businesses, particularly small and medium enterprises, may struggle to recover, leading to increased unemployment and economic instability. When we also skip to religious and cultural perspectives, we realize that religious communities in St. Kitts and Nevis play a pivotal role in disaster response and emotional resilience. In times of crisis, many people turn to their faith for comfort and guidance. Churches and other places of worship often serves as shelters or centers for relief distribution. For Nevis, we no longer use schools. However, an earthquake could damage historic churches and temples, affecting cultural heritage and disrupting religious gathering. The event could also provoke theological discussions about divine interventions, natural hazards, and influencing religious discourse in the island. More so, an impact on education. The education sector will face significant setback if schools and tertiary institutions were structurally compromised by an earthquake. Many schools in St. Kitts and Nevis are old buildings that may not have been designed to withstand high magnitude tremors. Disruptions in schooling could lead to learning loss, especially if digital learning alternatives are not adequately prepared. Additionally, psychological trauma among students and educators could hinder effective learning during the post-disaster phase. When we get to agriculture, we all love food, including myself. Agriculture remains an essential component of the local economy, particularly in rural areas. An earthquake could disrupt farming by damaging irrigation systems, roads, and storage facilities, leading to food shortages and high prices. Soil stability could also be affected making replanting efforts challenging. Furthermore, livestock farming could suffer from infrastructure damage, reducing the availability of dairy and meat product in the local market. When we get to physical and disaster preparedness itself, what happens is physical planning and infrastructure resilience are critical concerns when considering earthquake preparedness. In St. Kitts and Nevis, many buildings, especially in older parts of Bastia and Charlestown, may not be constructed with modern seismic resistant buildings or materials. If not properly addressed, structural weaknesses could lead to significant casualties and property loss in the event of a major earthquake. Strengthening building codes and enforcing compliances with seismic standards should be prioritized to mitigate risk. Social and health. On that, we realize that beyond the physical damage, an earthquake could cause long-term psychological and social effects on the population. The stress of displacement, loss of loved ones, and uncertainty among the future could contribute to mental health issues. The health care system already operating with limited resources may struggle to handle a surge in injuries and trauma-related conditions. Ensuring the hospitals and clinics are earthquake resistant is crucial for emergency response. This one is very ticklish, and it is political and government consideration. In the wake of an earthquake, effective governance and political stability are crucial for response and recovery efforts. The government will need to coordinate with regional and international agencies such as CDMA, UNDRL, and donor partners to secure aid and ensure efficient resources allocation. Political will is also necessary to strengthen disaster preparedness policies and public education campaigns on earthquake safety. So looking at all this, one can now make a conclusion that the threat of earthquake in St. Kitts and Nevis underscores the need for a multi-sectoral approach to disaster preparedness and response. Strengthening infrastructure, improving emergency management policies, enhancing public awareness, and investing in economic and social resilience are essential to mitigate the impact of a potential seismic event. The collective effort of government agencies, businesses, religious organizations, and the general population will be critical in ensuring that St. Kitts and Nevis remains prepared for such a natural hazard. So just one hazard called earthquake, we can look at it this deep and being mindful in all of this. Next month we'll be focusing on landslides, and we'll also have an opportunity for such a reflection, how landslides could impact diverse sectors. So I just want to appreciate once again Ms. Zanella Clarkson for granting disaster management this opportunity, always the last week of every month, for a showcase on the awareness of the hazards that is being spearheaded. So we give a thank you to that department, and I also thank the Charleston Primary for working with us, and also our able communication officer, Ms. Zoe Bendetto, who hosted the show. So see you again next week. God bless.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now it passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's Youth on the Go. Youth on the Go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, Youth on the Go. Whoa, let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab the games, let's gather around. An adventure is always waiting. The storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the Go.